What's up, guys? It's your boy G-Man, and welcome to the Superhero Brothas podcast. Guys, on today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3. So with that, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, kind of as a backstory from episode 2, we got to realize there's more than one super soldier. There's about 8 out there. Bucky and Sam don't know where to go, and they end up coming to the conclusion that they need to go to Helmut Zemo, a villain they put away in Captain America Civil War, to get a lead on how people are getting this new super serum, where it comes from, and how can they stop it. So, first and foremost, when you first cut into scene, you see that the new Captain America, John Walker, and Battlestar are attacking a hideout that Carly, leader of the Flag Smashers, was hiding in. You see he's been super violent about it. He just doesn't hesitate. And you can see he's kind of got anger boiling over, which is a complete kind of juxtaposition, because even before that scene, you have kind of this GRC ad, which they represent as the government. It's like, oh, we're trying to help people get back together. We care. We're not going to be hoarding supplies. We're always being super nice about it. And then you see, of course, Cap not. And he's interrogating these, essentially they would be insurgents, if you will. And one of them spits in his face. And he's like, I know who you are. And he's like, still doesn't respect him. So you can see John Walker's emotions starting to boil over, and he has to get out of the situation. So him and Battlestar are coming to the conclusion themselves that they need to go to someone else. So Carly always seems to be one step ahead of them and always slipping right through their fingers. With this, it cuts to Munich, Germany, going to this prison. Bucky visits Zemo. They have a little bit of a talk, and you see that Zemo reiterates the words from the Soviet book that used to trigger the Winter Soldier to kind of go into this like comatose state, if you will, and just easily controlled. Now, after that, you see it has no effect, and you kind of see why Bucky has come to Zemo, and Zemo figures it out as well. And from there, it cuts to another scene. Falcon and Bucky have obviously left this corridor and in kind of this dark space with dark garage, if you will, with a bunch of cars. And Sam's like, there's no way we should break out Zemo. They're debating about breaking Zemo out. And so, of course, Bucky's like, oh, you know what, let me go over this hypothetical. And it shows how he actually helped Baron Zemo escape, and he didn't ask for Sam's permission because he's like, look, I know we need Zemo. Without his help, we will never be able to find these people. So you can see, obviously, Sam is startled and a little taken aback. They have a little bit debate, but they end up agreeing like, okay, like, we need you, let's go. With that, we now get a little bit of insight that Zemo was actually a baron. So the dude is like super rich, has his own private jet, own collection of cars. It's crazy. And also with the collection, we see that iconic purple mask coming through. You're like, oh, is he going to put it on this episode? Is he not? What's going on with this? Fast forward, they know they have to go to Madripoor, which is kind of in the Southeast Asian. It's a fictional island. All like the low scum and villainy live. So they have to find an informant called Selby in order to see who has been trafficking and producing this super soldier serum. Sam goes undercover as a smiling tiger Conrad Mack, which is actually a real character in the Marvel series. He's an assassin. He's not a huge character. And you can see the little quips with Sam, of course, being like, if we're on this top secret mission, why am I the only one that looks like a clown? As they're nearing Madripoor, you just get to see how dangerous it is and how rich it is. See all the rich cars, all these crazy guns, them all just kind of like walking the streets into this bar to find Shelby. And so it's Selby. And with that, they have to stay in character in this place or they're going to get killed. And you see, of course, they're at the bar. They ask for Shelby, and they're just waiting a little bit. And then one of these goons tries to attack Zemo, but in order for their cover to stay the same, Zemo like looks at Winter Soldier, speaks. I want to say it might be Russian. I'm not totally positive, but essentially for Winter Soldier to attack, and you see what Bucky's playing his part, but it's almost like too well how he easily like slips back into that Winter Soldier form and just like dominates like these 10 people real easily. Then they see Selby, they get the information, and right as they're going to get more information, Sam gets an untimely call, which I'm like, Sam, bro, how are you going to leave your phone on loud on a secret mission? Like, that's like, I feel like that's Superhero 101. Like, do not do that. But anyway, he picks up, it's his sister. His sister obviously doesn't know the work that he's doing, and their cover gets blown. But right before they get in a lot of trouble, there's like a secret helper that kills Shelby. But with that, now it's like, oh, that's like the power broker who we got introduced to is this like judge, jury, executioner, this mystical figure on the island. And so now they're like, okay, we got to get out of here. So they're starting to run, and all you can see, like, the text is going out to everyone for a bounty to get the killers. And then stuff goes nuts. You see gunfire going off. Sam has to run. Zemo runs the other way. Bucky's running, and they end up meeting in the same alleyway, and they seem to have like this secret guardian, because as they're stopped by two goons, those two goons get shot in the head. Lo and behold, we get to see that Sharon Carter, she's been living out here on this rock, essentially, after she was branded an enemy of the state and could never return back to the U.S. So right now she sells stolen art for a living. She seems to be doing pretty good when we get the snapshot of her apartment. She's throwing a party where there's a lot of high informers, and she can get the information on how to get to these scientists who's making the super serum. Fast forward, we're in a dockyard. They end up finding the scientist was Dr. Nagel, and he explains how he made the serum. So now it's a better serum. So it doesn't enhance your like size or anything like Captain America. It was like considered more perfect, and it's stronger. You could look the exact same, and you would have the same type of super strength, speed, and so forth. And you can tell he also doesn't care for his patients, because Isaiah Bradley was the person he took it from. He doesn't even refer to Isaiah as a person, more as test number XYZ. And so that was just a little unnerving, I'll say personally. I was like, man, like, how could you just do that? But also kind of the evil scientist point. We see why this super serum wasn't more widely dispersed, because Nagel was one of the scientists that got blipped. And of course, now that he got de-blipped, the power broker was like, he wanted his own army of super soldiers, so he was helping fund this research. So while this is all going on, Zemo slips behind, takes a gun, and shoots Nagel in the head, because his whole thing was like, I want to end the Winter Soldier initiative, which was kind of his idea of ending the super soldier serum, anything that could make a superpower team like the Avengers. Because again, the Avengers, he blames the Avengers for what happened at Sokovia, his home country. And so with that, now you see there's all these goons still coming in on Nagel's base. And Sharon's doing her best to keep everyone off. She's doing a really good job, though. This was probably like the most brutal I've ever seen Marvel been. It's usually like a kid-friendly show, but like, see people getting stabbed in the eye, arms being broken. Sharon's killing like without remorse. And so you just get to see more of that field operative design with kind of like street warfare. And I thought it was really cool. So, of course, Zemo and Falcon, they're all trying to escape this dockyard, and they get stopped. They get pinned down. Zemo somehow escapes them all. He comes around. You see him in the purple mask on the top of the thing. He shoots this gas kind of pole thing and explodes. It's a really cool, honestly violent scene. But you get to see all of Zemo's special ops, which is like he's just not a manipulator and strategist. He's actually a highly dangerous hand-to-hand combatant. So with that, he's able to get Sharon, Sam, and Bucky away from being pinned down. And so they go ahead and escape that dockyard. And as an ending cutscene, you'll see that Sharon is picked up by a random kind of stranger that we were never introduced to, being like, oh, we got a problem. Actually, a couple of problems. So then it kind of puts in the twist, is Sharon actually the power broker? Is she playing both sides? Like, what's her real agenda? And so with that, they all find out that Carly is like the leader of the Flag Smashers, and they get that through her mentor's name, which is Donya Madani. So it cuts to Carly kind of being in one of those refugee camps, and one of her constituents is like, hey, you need to go see Donya. She's on her like last leg. She would want you to be with her. So this is, I think, where Carly kind of loses her humanity in a sense of where it seems like she's always been good, trying to get medicine for the people, but right when her mentor dies, she's like, you know what? These guys only understand violence. So the next heist that they do, they blow up a GRC embassy with people inside it. And she's like, and you can even say, she's like, this is the only language that they understand. So you can see that she's kind of turned from that like optimistic, like Robin Hood-esque character to now like full on villain. As well, you can see that Bucky, Zemo, and Sam have all flown to Latvia as they wait to make their next move on Carly. And before they all enter, Bucky's like, oh, I got to take a walk. And you see that he's picking up these little bead-like items. And at first it's like, oh, kind of weird. Like maybe he's in league with the Flag Smashers. He's trying to help them. But then he's like, oh, I wonder when you guys could come out. And then you see the camera pan. And first there's no one that turns all the way back around. And then there's Io from Wakanda. And he's like, I'd wonder when you show up. Because, of course, they still want revenge on Zemo for killing King T'Chaka. And so with that kind of just, I would say it almost leaves us on a cliffhanger of like what's going to happen to Zemo. But as well, you see that Battlestar and the U.S. agent figure out that Bucky helped Zemo escape. And now they're like, okay, what are we going to do? And you see a little bit more of the good soldier in John Walker rather than the good man, because rather than telling their superiors what they think happened, he's like, you know what? We're just going to run with this. Like, and it doesn't matter if this is in the rules or not. As long as we get the job done, will they really care? So you can see the kind of the paradox and why, even going all the way back to the first movie, why the Doctor originally chose Steve Rogers over everyone else, because they're like, at his core, he's a good man, not just a good soldier. And so with that, we have a lot of cliffhangers. I'll say personally, I like Zemo being in his actual purple mask and outfit. So I'm excited to see kind of where the storylines kind of come into play. Like, how is Bucky to convince Io not to kill Zemo? What's going to happen when Zemo and Sam find Carly? Also, they still want to steal the shield. So after they steal the shield, Bucky was like, I'm going to take it. And maybe he wanted to nominate a new Captain America or become Captain America himself. And then as well, it just continues to unpack the legacy and the complexity of what this shield is. So guys, with that, we're only halfway through the series, so we know there's going to be crazy things going on in the next few episodes. But with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. If you enjoy this podcast, please comment below your thoughts on the next couple of episodes, and be sure to give us a 5-star rating. We are on Apple Music and Spotify. As well, be sure to follow us on all social media at Superhero Brothas on Instagram. And with that, we're going to go ahead and end today. It's your boy G-Man, and you are listening to the Superhero Brothas.